I'm extremely alarmed that social media is devastating Gen Z's mental health and is making democracy untenable. I actually think that it is incompatible with democracy. It brings out all the worst features of democracy that the ancient Greeks talked about, the founding fathers talked about. So I think the social media platforms bear an enormous responsibility for the mental health of kids, of teenagers all around the world. We're talking hundreds of millions of people. And I think they're going to bear some responsibility for what's happening to our democracy and for democracies that are going to fail.
What do you think these social media companies can do to limit that damage?
So the first thing I think they need to do is take the mental health data seriously. 3 or 4 years ago, they could hide behind saying, well, the studies are mixed. It's true that there are some studies that seem to say there's no damage, but there are so many more studies. It is unbelievable. Maybe you can put some of the images up later. I mean, the hockey stick graphs, especially for girls. The evidence that social media is part of the cause is now climbing. It's now pretty solid that social media is a major contributor. And one clear sign is that the group that is up the most, the group that's being decimated, is 10 to 14-year-old girls. Their rates of self-harm and suicide have more than doubled, in some cases tripled. So one of the first things they can do, I think, is we need to say, nobody gets a social media account until they're 16. 10 years ago, we thought, well, maybe this will be good for kids. Maybe it'll give them ways to be creative. It could have been, but it's not. It's destroying a generation of girls. So raise the age to 16. Kids will still have ways to connect, but just not in especially Instagram. And then require verification. You have to have some proof that you're a real person. We should not be letting people get Twitter accounts and elsewhere without any proof that they're a real person who's accountable if they make threats.
For sure.
And then 3 is settings that anyone can use to make their town square be a better town square. So like on Twitter, they talk about we want to be the town square and have better discussions of democracy. But if it's full of anonymous people who can, throw tear gas in your face and then run away, and it's not a good town square.
Yes.
So what I'd like to do is I'm hoping the social media companies will be able to code the degree to which people use, say, aggression or hostility, obscenity, and especially on the positive side, nuance. Like there are some people who will say, even on Twitter, you can say, I agree with you on X, but disagree on Y. Like, wow, that's the kind of person I want to interact with.
Yes.
So what if I could set it so that my universe of Twitter people is only people who have verified they're a real person, who have agreed to use their real name, and who score above 0 on, some or some,
Yeah.
So that rather than having whatever it is, 800 million, or I don't know however many, rather than 800 million, there's only 100 million. But it's the people who are high quality Twitter users. We're not judging left, right. We're not judging, we're just judging, basic civility.